Alright, so we're going to finish off section 10.1 by going through some different percent change formulas dealing with our final value and baseline value. This first one we're going to work through a couple of different ways and kind of talk about it. And then we'll kind of go from there as we're working through the last examples on the next page. So we're told to use the percent change formula to find the following final values. So if the sales tax rate is 7.75%, find the total cost of a $64.95 purchase. Right, so we're going to start with our percent. Right, our percent, in this case, we're not going to use a percent symbol because we're thinking about the last few formulas. We're using the letter P. So our percent, we're going to use the letter P, which is going to be 0.0775. Right, so again, we want to shift it 2 places to the left, which means we have to add that extra 0 in there. Right, our baseline is the original cost, which is $64.95, and our final value is going to be the cost after taxes. So what we're looking for here is the final value. So if we look back up at these 2 previous formulas, we're going to pick the formula that starts with F, because that is what we are looking for. Okay? So that formula that starts with F from up above is F equals 1 plus P in parentheses times B. So that's what we're going to use to solve this problem. So F equals 1 plus 0.0775 times 64.95. F equals, if we go through and we do this, again, we can do it in 1 step, we can do it in 2 steps, we can do it in 3 steps. If we're plugging it into a calculator, throw this guy in parentheses, which is going to give us 1.0775. And we're going to take that times our $64.95. Again, you can kind of skip some steps as you're going through here. There's going to be times where I err on the side of caution and show more steps than are actually needed. If we multiply these, this gives us a $69.98 total cost. So using our final value formula, we get a nice, quick, direct answer. Now, we do have an option here. Right? So as I said, there's a lot of problems in this section that we can do multiple different ways. So I'm going to work through the same problem a different way, just so that way you can kind of see that there are different options that we can explore. All right, so our percent equals 0.0775. Right, our whole, right, so we're going back to our original percent formula. Right, percent times whole equals part. Our whole is our original price, and we are looking for our part. Right, so part equals percent times whole. So our part equals 0.0775 times our whole, which is $64.95. That gives us a part of, type it into our calculator, do the multiplication, $5.03. But do kind of take a mental note here that this is not the same as our answer that we saw up there, because this is our part that's added to the original. So we do have 1 step left to finish this off. We're going to take our original price of $64.95, add the $5.03, and we get $69.98. The same thing that we got in our previous working of this problem. We just got to the answer slightly differently. So again, as you're going through the problems in this section, feel free to do whatever is most comfortable for you. Use the direct formulas, use your basic percent formula and a little bit of logic to reason through it. It's really entirely up to you. As long as you're getting the correct answer and you're rounding it correctly, I mean, that's the biggest goal of this section. All right, so let's work through 2 last examples using these final value and baseline formulas. So for B, consider the final price of a TV set which lists for $500 and is on sale for 20% off. A 7% sales tax is to be paid on the selling price. Find the final price. Okay, so we are going to start. And these we are just going to go through and we are going to use the direct method only. So again, we could go back to our basic percent times whole equals part. Instead, we're going to choose to use our final price formula, so our formula with our final value. The only thing is we're going to have to go through kind of two different steps. So our first step that we're going to look at here is going to be our sale, which is our decrease in price. All right. So our P is our percent. Since we're thinking about a decrease in price, we're going to write this as negative 0.20. So it's 20% off. It's a decrease, so it's going to be a negative number. Our baseline is our original price, which is 500. And our final value is what we are looking for here. And our formula from the previous page, F equals 1 plus P times B. So F equals 1 plus negative 0.20 times our baseline, which is 500. So F equals, if we simplify that in there just a tiny bit, we get 0.80 times 500. F equals a $400 sale price. Right, so there's our step one. We found our decrease in price. Right, now we need to look at our sales tax. So our sales tax is going to be an increase in price. So no negative numbers here in the second part, and we're just looking at positive numbers. So our percent, 7%, we move our decimal point 2 places, P equals 0.07. Our baseline, well, that's our new sale price of 400, right? So that has changed because of this number that we see here. And again, we're looking for our final value. Still using the same formula, F equals 1 plus P times B. F equals 1 plus 0.07 times 400. 1 plus 0.07 is 1.07 times 400. Our final price is $420 after tax. Again, there are multiple different ways of doing this. This is one showing our direct formula. Right? If you choose to do this a different way and do this entire problem using our basic percent formula, that will also work. Right? Just the work and the steps are slightly different, but we should get the exact same answer in the end. All right, then we're going to finish this off with one last example. We're going to look at a baseline formula. Again, in this case, we are going to use just the direct method only. Again, however, there are different ways to work through this problem. So use a percent change formula. In this case, we're going to use our baseline formula to find the following. Sam's salary is $44,200. This is a 4% increase from last year. What was her salary last year? All right, so our percent, it is an increase. So it is a positive 4%, which is 0.04 after we shift our decimal. Our final value is her new salary. So Sam's new salary is $44,200. And we are looking for the baseline salary. So we're going to go back to the example that we saw where we, in the last video, where we went through and we generated some different formulas. And as we were generating those formulas, one of the formulas that we generated was one for our baseline. And we ended up with a formula that said that B equals F divided by 1 plus P. And so on your notes, it's on page 5. In the videos, it's in the previous video. So B equals 44,200 divided by, again, and we're going to think about this being in parentheses, invisible parentheses in the bottom, 1 plus 0.04, which if we want to rewrite, we definitely could. If we want to plug it into our calculator with parentheses, we can also do that as well. But either way, we're dividing 44,200 divided by 1.04, and that's going to give us a baseline of 42,500 of the salary per year. So again, like the last couple of problems, we can go through and we can work through these problems using our direct method. We can use different types of techniques. As you're going through this first section, again, do whatever you're most comfortable with. Make sure you're rounding correctly. Make sure you're going back and forth between your percents and decimals correctly. And that's going to be the most important part of these problems that we're going through.